delegation and to recognize the protocols of our regional chairman, our regional vice chairman, and our deputy mayor, and to all councillors from the RDC and the municipality, and to every resident that we have in our midst. Let me take this time to say thank you for recognizing the importance of this exercise that we are engaged this afternoon in. I want to also say that with this exercise comes the opportunity for us to express on every level the intention of what this visiting delegation intends to extract, which is to see where we have discrimination and marginalization, not only across Guyana, but I'm very encouraged that it's specific to communities within Guyana and those communities that over the years have expressed those many areas of discrimination and marginalization. I want to say that this is not new, as our deputy mayor only a few months ago, while in the US, made such observations as part of a visiting delegation. And again, not new, because I can recall vividly in 2030, yours truly and a team visiting the US to take our issues of discrimination and marginalization to the US capital of Washington, D.C., where we met now minority leader Akeem Jeffries and Yvette Clark to register many of the same complaints that you're about to hear today, 2013, 2023. What is quite obvious and common as a denominator in that period is the government, the People's Progressive Party, and their continued aggression towards the people of this community in terms of the policies of ensuring the people in this community are held to a different standard than the rest of Guyana. And herein lies the discrimination and marginalization. Quite evident as you look around the room, you see one television camera. That is the fundamental policy of the People's Progressive Party. One TV station is the government station. The community of Linden and Region 10, by population, measures over 50,000 residents. And those 50,000 residents are subjected to one view, one thought, one interpretation of what this society in the rest of Guyana is. For those who have no access to any other forms of information are completely denied the opportunity, except you have the opportunity to spend what you don't have. This is National Communication Network. So two things will be pointed out as it relates to the denial of access to information. Is the government's access to its own network that is taxpayer funding, that is only reserved for government and state agents, and denied completely the opportunity of any other taxpayer, especially if they hold a different political view. This not only withstanding the government's intention through NCN, but the government's denial to grant this community access to further license so that more television stations could come to the community and for more television stations to be able to show those opinions that are different to the government. In 2008, then former regional chairman Mr. Yearwood, Mr. Mortimer Yearwood, and Mr. Norman Chapman filed a case against the government of Guyana in 2008. This is 17 years ago, and they won that case. The case where the Chief Justice said that the government of Guyana was fundamentally denying the rights of citizens from accessing alternative information, which is a breach of their access and their fundamental right to access information unimpeded and uninterrupted, a violation of Act 146 of our Constitution. They lost, the government lost. Chief Justice ruled and they lost. 17 years on, that policy still exists. It's right over there. NCA. 17 years on. No other town, no other region is with one television station except Linden. No other town, no other region is with one license for television station except Linden. And we know information is power. But let me go further to what that one television station was not only allowed, because in 2012, as regional chairman, myself, I stood right where Comrade Adams is, we had an uprising in our community that dealt with one matter. It was the imposition of the increase of electricity rates. In that imposition, the region took the opportunity to place on record several other issues, including the violation of our rights to access information. And we asked that our television station be returned. Mind you, this same television station was a gift given to the community by Green Construction Company. In 2012, the government of Guyana then called the 21st of August agreement, returned that television station. So on two levels, they lost a court case in 2018, which was an acknowledgement of the violation of our rights. And in 2012, they agreed by signing an agreement to return to the community what was not theirs, which was the television station, and which we occupied at the Richmond Hill residence. What was not given was a license to operate that station by the state. Again, further taking the rights of the citizens away. But let me go further, because on many levels you might think of this again as a television station, but as Mr. Chapman and Mr. Yearwood showed, it was a fundamental and is a fundamental breach of our constitutional right. Local government elections 2023. What was this television station used to do? It was used after a request was made by the administration, in fact the campaign management team, for which I was a part of, and sent to the management of NCN a letter requesting us as a opposition campaign to have 1 hour access to the television station. We have today not been responded to by the management of NCN. But let me go further. The said manager of NCN works not only for the television station, the said manager worked as a candidate for the PPP. So it is that candidate we submitted a request asking to be featured on the state television, which we pay taxes, and we were denied. But let me go further to what that did in terms of where we saw everyday promotion of the People's Progressive Party, and we continue to see even today that persons within the management of NCN are signing government contracts when those are distributed. And it's in the dossier where you see those photographs, and accompanying those photographs, we said are videos of those individuals. It is those same managers, this community leadership, have to engage on behalf of the people who pay taxes for that national communication network to function, to beg for airtime, which we have not been given and granted. What is most disturbing is not only the denial to be on NCN, it is what comes out as propaganda from NCN, not only on behalf of the government, but against elected officials without even engaging to have their opinions on stories. And this was a matter we brought only today to the attention of one of the workers at NCM. We have been seeing many issues in this community affecting us. Whether we have the issue of our own sister Tamika Clark, who a lawyer, doing her duties, and instead of ensuring our rights and our fundamental rights were respected, she was locked up because she told her client that he is within his rights to not respond to certain questions. Tamika Clark, a lawyer at Linden, was arrested for doing her job. I want to say she subsequently won the case. The other areas of focus I would like to give as a new council, 3 months as a new council. 12th of June, we're in the month of November. Our assessment in terms of the area of governance and the People's Progressive Party government, respect for the outcome of the last local government elections, where as a party, the APNU won resoundingly and overwhelmingly from an 8,000 to a 2,000 plus support for the People's Progressive Party. In governance and a democratic process, the people have spoken. And in that very collective voice have identified what they would like their council to look like and who they want their councillors to be. This is accepted by the People's Representative Act and what an electoral outcome should look like. Here is a council with 14 APNU councillors and 2 PPP councillors. What we witnessed over the past 2 weeks in the area of governance is a local government commission identifying for this council an individual who managed in part the PPP's campaign to now act as the CEO of our town, not recognizing that the process of that individual required a level of transparency and accountability in itself before we even attach the label of party activists. It is in that light our review of governance, of the entrusting of the people of Linden through a democratic process to identify their leaders, notwithstanding the democratic process, was completely overturned, and an imposition of those who lost at the poll is now being placed on the people of Linden, not by following the regulated procedures as outlined by the said commission. This is what we saw over the past 2 weeks, but it is not restricted to the municipality, as the RDC, the Regional Democratic Council, is with more of the same challenges, where those officers that are identified to be professionals, instead of acting professional, are acting in the interests of a particular political party. And it is in that light that we said to the Commission only today that we condemn such an appointment. And we ask the Commission, by virtue as a council that is provided for in 2801 by law, at a statutory last Wednesday, in fact 2 Wednesdays ago, the 1st of November, this council made a decision that was forwarded to the local government commission asking for the next senior officer to act in the position of town clerk, CEO of the town, until such time as a process of due application, due interviews, and all the necessary protocols were observed before we arrived at such a position. Unfortunately, within a week of the council's recognition of this fact, the decision was made and an imposition was done, not only on this council, but the people of Linden. That is the area of governance. It is done so that those who made that democratic process to elect their leaders will now have a challenge in those who they formerly rejected. So I want to take this time as we focus on those two elements. As the chairman mentioned, there is a well-prepared dossier in terms of construction, agriculture, environmental, labor, public service, and several other areas identified, including the ones I spoke about, the television station, and the issue of governance that will be magnified in the dossier. I want to say once again, we speak of a very democratic society, but one must remember democracy is more than free and fair elections. Democracy is about good governance and the rule of law. And those missing elements make Guyana not a democratic society, but a society far from being a liberal democratic state that it strives to be. And I'm very encouraged that we have persons who are from matured democracy and understand that in no time a one TV station policy is accepted. We face that. We went to war to change that. In 2012, many persons were injured, and in fact, 3 men lost their lives for that. And to date, we have not gotten it. And in fact, it is being used as a weapon against us in this community because we are denied access. And those who are imposed on us are every single day speaking on the public forum that is paid by taxpayers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please worship the Mayor. At this time, we're going to have, like I said, testimonies.
And just thank you both for your presentation. I wanted to make sure that the delegation could follow up with any subsequent questions we may have for you. I just want to be clear. Are you stating that it has always been one television station in Linden?
Yes, right now. And the PUP has been in power 26 years. Always. We active in 2015, like I said, we activated after the 2012 protests and the agreement of 21st of August. The government signed by the then Prime Minister Sam Hines agreed to hand over back the infrastructure of the television station, which was the land and the dish and any other thing that they had. They did that. However, they did not hand over a license. So you didn't have to be established yet. You could not have broadcast.
No, at one point, was there more than one television
No.
station? So it's always just been one television station?
Yes. Channel is 2, station is 1.
So 2 channels, 1 station?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We struck a nerve when we talked about only one television station. Do y'all happen to have any other independent media outlets, such as radio, television? The reason I ask that is because in our democracy, the press, and independent press, has been guardian and conscious about democracy.
Yes, we have other mediums, of course. We have a radio station that was given to an independent gentleman, and he sold that to an entity that is closely aligned to the government, and they made no qualms about it. In fact, they made known about it when they got a 300 million contract of just how close they are to the government. And further to that, just like NCN, they too received a letter during the local government elections asking for the presence of the opposition once a week. To date, we have gotten no response from that.
So there's no real independent media
No.
outlet here, period.
No.
And,
No. Not unless you have social media and you have the resources to have access to that, then maybe you can see information outside of Linden.
How many citizens are in Linden?
35,000 as of the last 20 not 2012 census because we haven't had that release, but the 10 years ago census.
And what is that in relation to the rest of the population of Guyana? Is this one of the larger cities
We can call Linden the second largest town in there,
after Georgetown?
Georgia.
And this town is predominantly Afro-Guyanese. What's the population makeup of this town?
Well, the last census would show 75% Afro-Guyanese. The last census, again, the 2012 census has not been released. And just to put some historical context of where Linden as a community and where the ethnicity or in fact the demographics was built from. Linden is an industrial bauxite town and a town that welcomed many persons into this community as new migrants. Most of them came from the coastland to do artisan work in the bauxite company. That in itself made a lot of Afro-Guyanese that came from those villages, came to Linden and settled. What was unfortunate in the 60s, mid-60s, were many uprisings where we had two significant events happening months apart from May to June. The first event is called the uprising, where persons of Indian descent, two, lost their lives. And this is documented in a Commission of Inquiry report that was done. And we call that the situation where the Silvertongue residents attacked some Indians. The reprisal for that was 48 Afro-Guyanese being blown to pieces in an event called the Son Chapman Massacre that occurred the 6th of July in 1964 in an event called the River of Blood. That in itself set a very turbulent relationship in terms of the race issue, especially the first matter. Not only two Indians lost their lives, many Indians were forced out of Linden in that exercise. That sort of environment is where people in Linden, not because of any paranoia, but they see that sort of reprisal even today in government policy.
Thank you. I'm going to come back to you in a moment. I have a question about infrastructure. So are you saying that infrastructure development is based on race or political association? I'm trying to figure out a combination of the both throughout this region.
Both. So since 2020, and it is documented, over 70% of government contracts are awarded to one ethnicity, mostly people from out of the region. 70%. The other 30%, and the evidence will show, where there are persons who are in this room affiliated to the government. Office holders are aligned, are given those contracts. And so after the exposure, and after we started to highlight it, you may see an attempt to stick in a two or a three of independent people, but 70% of contracts go to people outside of the region. Against that, the very first policy the RDC moved when I became chairman is that we said Region 10 is a hilly sand and clay region, and that we prefer that emphasis be placed on first putting in the relevant drainage infrastructure, and then we can be able to focus on upgrading the roads either simultaneously once we provide the budgetary allocation or in a subsequent year. They have continued to award projects, no provision, little or no provision for drains in some cases, which has now resulted in many residents experiencing flooding in their communities. I, as head of the region, Region 10, as I said, was the hardest hit region in the 2020 floods. We were tasked with preparing reports in 2021, right? We were tasked with preparing reports and submitted those reports to the Civil Defense Commission, who is tasked now with bringing relief to the affected residents. When it comes to the report and the hard work, and knowing how many shelters are set up, how many people are affected, what mitigating measures we put in place, they rely on the elected component, the officials put us information. But when the relief kicks in, taxpayers' money, hampers, whatever it is, upgrading or remedial works, the damaged section of the road that was as a result of the flooding, they are sent to political people who are connected to the government. No level of accountability. If you ask them to submit the names of who benefited, you're not afforded the opportunity to see.
I have a follow-up question, because I'm trying to see where you're going.
Yeah.
So do you now have a process for bidding of contracts here? And if so, are the contracts being awarded based on qualification versus race or political affiliation?
So that is one of the very good question. In 2020, the Office of the Regional Chairman and Councillors met with the then Minister of Local Government and said, listen, Region 10 has the ability, we have the talent, we have skilled people. Let us embrace a process where you go into a community like Okwani, who started to remodel and refurbish a section of a school that was neglected, and award those communities or those persons the projects. What they have done is utilize the tender process. They have manipulated the tender process in what is called a variation, added variation. So a contractor will cleverly bid below the engineer's estimate and then comes back, requests an add variation, which might in some cases be as much as 8 million more than the contract sum,
I have a question.
and is awarded the project.
And I'm not trying to cut you off, I want to get through this. So do you have written documents, evidence that you give, say for instance, show an example of when someone goes back in after they underbid supposedly, and then they go back in and then,
Definitely, and those documents will be shared.
okay, thank you.
Let me also say further to the contracts.
Have you opened it up yet for the public?
No, we have, I know there is. I know
Thank you. If we're going to continue like this, if we're going to continue like this, I'm going to ask that they
Okay. Okay. to get to us if people are yelling. Now, what I have learned from traveling around the world and doing this in many countries is when people are upset and they have something to hide, they cause disruption in the room. Now, this is not to say that what you say is not legitimate, but there is decorum and there is respect, and you do not have to agree with each other to be respectful of this delegation and the people that are speaking. I was only reaching across the room to ask my colleague who said he had something to say if he would like to say it. Now, if we have this type of disruption, we will leave, but it doesn't mean we will leave without a report. We will leave with what we heard if everybody in this room cannot be respectful. But you have something you need to say, and I'm sorry for taking up your meeting, but we cannot have this kind of chaos right now. And they said when they open up the floor, that everyone in the room would have a chance to speak.
Ms. Dawkins?
So I think there is a chair, I think there's a chair of the
Ms.
meeting.
Dawkins?
I want to hear.
Ms. Dawkins, please. The chair of the meeting, Ms. Dawkins, said that the chairman, the regional chairman will speak, the mayor will speak, and they will open up for discussion. It will all happen in 1 hour. The mayor took more than the time that was allotted, and then, hold on, well, it didn't allot the time, but he loved the sound of his voice. However, you were asking some follow-up questions, which everybody's looking at the time, because the chair of the meeting said that everything will happen in 1 hour. How fair is
No,
that?
you listen.
I'm just saying.
We will extend the time, but you got to calm this down.
No,
You don't have to.
I'm just saying to you.
You got to.
People are agitated just because of that, and you need to understand and respect that.
Sir,
You see, you're going to make my delegation meeting. Please, we're going to extend the time so we can hear you, but stop yelling in this place. Take over your meeting.
Thank you very much. Dr. Hawkins, I know you were asking your colleague if he wanted to say something, and at this time I'm going to ask if you're going to say something.
I'm going to table mine to hear the rest of it. I'll table my question.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to ask for testimonies.
Can I have the mic? Oh, no.
And you're given 1 minute.
Yes.
don't ever say anything. 1 minute. 1 minute.
Just go ahead and speak, please.
What could be said 1 minute?
Okay, a good evening to each and everyone. Due respect, Region Chairman, Mayor, the delegation from the USA. I listened to the presentation of the regional chairman and the mayor of this town, and I am a representative of the People's Progressive Party here in Region Number 10. And I just wanted to make it clear because you must go back there with good information and true information as to what is explained here today. Now, first of all, let me update you of Region 10. The People's Progressive Party in election results have only 14% of the vote in Region 10, which most come from the obscure area. The majority of the votes in Linden, Kokwani, and Haitui goes to the People's, the APNU, AFC, or PNC. Now, I listen about discrimination in terms of grants and all these things. The People's Progressive returned to office in 2020 after a long wait of 5 months because of election results, which I think all of you know about. When we came back, it was a pandemic in terms of the pandemic COVID-19. And in 2021, we gave out over $450 million in grants to the people in this region, which the majority, the mayor said, 75% is our co-guidees, right? And only 40% is PPP. So I want to see transparent. In 2021 also, we gave out 100 grants 100 persons randomly from this many areas. That's another 20 million. In 2022, we gave out 50 million of grants to people in Region 10. Most of our Guyanese, we have the records here to show that it's people that, when it comes to all these people in vote with the PPP, if they vote with the PPP, the people will be able to control region number 10. The history of Guyana in terms of voting is because they have two great leaders, Paul Corner and Cherry Jagan. And when they split, Afro Guyanese started to vote for Afro Guyanese. They know that it's not based on policy. If they were voting on policies, you will see the record of the two progressive politicians in region 10 have done more than the other one But this year, we gave out 60 million in contract and grants to people in Region 10. And I could bring the list to show you that the majority of people are not even members or supporters of the People's Progressive Party. After this, the contracts in Guyana, you have a procurement system. What is happening in Guyana? And Guyana do not have the kind of equipment and so forth, and most of the people outside because of open grant bid in for Guyanese. It got no restriction. And sometimes most of the Indo-Guyanese.
Yeah, my name is Justity Kaldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
I've lived in Guyana and I've attended multilateral school. And from my primary days in school to secondary school, I've learned and I've understood that Guyana covers 83 square miles of landmass. I didn't hear that. Square miles, I said that. I said 83,000 square miles. You're not listening.
Yeah, my name is Justity Kaldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
Yeah, this is the elite team. The root team. Strong team.
Number one.
PPP team. Yeah. You understand? PPP all the way. Yeah, one Guyana. Yes.
Holding the fort for Monday morning.
In anywhere up, rain.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
Yes.
Could you please
May I please
the chair and your stage will be allowed to speak.
May I please I was standing before.
You are standing and saying that you not understand. So could you please Mr. London to speak, and then you will be given the floor. We did say that we'll extend the time. I'm asking that Mr. London to speak, and so, thank you very much. Go ahead, Mr. London.
Standing and hands up supposed to be recognized. The team who have the testing there, I'm Nigel London.
Nigel London.
I am maybe one of the few people in this room who happens to be apolitical. I do not support AP and you, I do not support AP. Mike is on? Okay. And from the heckles, I think that you can gather why the meeting of this nature. It is an embarrassment that people opted to seek to represent me as a resident of Linden and conduct themselves in such a manner.
And so you just conduct yourself more worse than me. Just conduct yourself. Very little people in
Okay, so we have to close the meeting because we're going to be interrupted. If we're going to have continued interruptions, we will close the meeting.
I shall continue to say that based on my observation, the policy regarding the awarding of contracts, and giving grants and aid in Linden is very simple. For one of the persons who work with the PB, for example, during the local government campaign, spoke herself, and it's on video. My issue here is this. I was made aware of this gathering at 9 this morning. I didn't know you were coming to Linden, so for me to present with anything in terms of hard copies of information, that is impossible. For I did not know of your being here, not anyone else. So this time I would just like to speak to be on record. Someone said, and it's recorded on a social media video, that in sharing of the grants that was said on one occasion, she wanted to take care of the people who work with her during the campaign for local government. That's the PPP candidate who said. That she wanted to give the grant that taxpayers' money would be spent to people who work with her during local government elections. And their attitude with someone else. That's what we call facts and truth. Additionally, during the COVID-19 situation, I was a part of a group who stood and saw that in the Linden hospital complex, the only major hospital across Guyana, where doctors, nurses, patients who were unconscious and others were locked out of the gate, and other hospitals across Guyana, especially the Greece, were left open, which belong to the East Indian community. I have seen, as you can see today, the nature of this administration when it speaks to how they handle those who oppose them. So my final point is this. In order to be awarded a contract in Linden, you have to fit certain criteria. One, you must either support the people wholeheartedly, regardless of your ethnicity. You must be committed to attacking your own people if they are your ethnicity. And you can hear it out. You must be of Indian descent and in support of the PPP. Okay. And finally, there will be many things circulating about what was done for Linden, but I'll ask a question. Who benefited financially from these things? For example, if the roads be completed in Linden, as Mr. Forsyth said, you have to have the means to execute the contract. I was told in person that black people don't have the means in Guyana to win any contract. That's what he said. He said he confirmed. Is that not discriminatory? I didn't say that. And the question is, why do we not have it? Which is exactly my point. The means. Therefore, it stands to reason that if someone who supports BB said clearly that those of African descent do not have the means to qualify for a contract, to the tune of, let's say, $5 million US, it speaks to the fact that there is definitely discrimination in reference to opportunities in there. That's an issue. That is an issue that has to be addressed. And I would like to say that if you walk outside of this building, my final point, and you look around, you'll see how many dirty vehicles are here. I, as a resident and a taxpaying citizen, don't have my garbage collected because the PPP's local government minister, long before it was a case of raping a little girl, refused vehicles collecting equipment to be sent around this town. I have to put garbage on my truck to take to the dump. That's the reality we're facing. That doesn't happen in Scotland, which is predominantly in Linden. It doesn't happen in bad settlement. It happens in Linden to me. And I have to stand here this or sit here this afternoon to see the conduct of people who claim to be having my interest in mind. And note when I said that I'm apolitical, you heard what I said. Because in this room, if you don't support the PPP and you speak against the PPP, then you're a PNC, and that is disrespectful to my intelligence. And it is all of those who have to bow to the PPP, the hierarchy, to get anything done with sustenance. I am a victim of NCM myself. I stood to protest in front of the place called the Kansas Sports Club. That's wrenched out of our hands. NCN, a reporter came and asked what was happening. They saw me, they said they'd come back. They never did. They never reported there was a protest in this town against what's happening in our community. Because if Nigel understands anyway, NCN can't come to interview me in reference to protest. You need to answer the question. So all the lackeys in the room, I have no respect for anyone.
I do have a question, not for you, but I have a question to the moderator. How many minutes are people, and thank you for your comment. How many minutes are people getting to speak? How many minutes are people getting to make their presentation?
Well,
There's no way we're going to be able to hear certain.
So I did say 1 minute, but when I said that, I recognize this 1 minute per person.
Okay. Oh, 2 minutes, but not 20 minutes. 5 minutes.
Madam Chair, just permit me to crave your indulgence, just to put into further context what Mr. Londa would have said before the next person speaks. And to just piggyback and to answer a question that the honorable member had asked earlier. At the RDCs, where contracts are awarded, it's important that you know this. All 5 members of the tender board were appointed by affiliates of the governing party. The RDCs over the years, in the Constitution, the provision that allows the council to select 2 nominees. The 2 nominees that were submitted by the council were ignored, and they imposed on us persons who they believe would have been singing to their song sheet. So I just wanted to make that point to put into context the question you asked earlier. How are contracts awarded? All 5 members of the tender board that sit to preside over the figures were appointed by the government, not one from the opposition. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and to the visiting delegation. My name
But you come, at least you come, Dawkins Hager.
Dawkins Hager, all right. So let me say, I don't know if I should say welcome to Linden. Why? I don't know if I should say that, because one, just like Bishop London, I did not know that you were coming. I did not get a letter, which should be done, to this administration for the use of this conference room, but it's a town hall meeting, that's what I understood. And by all means, the people should be heard and represented. So that was I have to see this on social media and advertise that it's being done but I think
Are you a counselor?
I am the town clerk.
Thank you.
Yes. When you came, what I noticed was that you were escorted to the mayor's parlor. That in itself, to me, is quite aware of this
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata from City Vietnam, And since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to people here. I'm not going to vote anymore. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man. I said, look at him. Look this. Wait. I gotta go from this side Oh my God!
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime.
Mr. Monk, I believe every word of what Mr. Shu is saying. I am also afraid of what Mr. Shu. Mr. Shu, if you are listening, I don't want anybody to harm you. This is a serious thing. Corruption is...
Good afternoon, everyone.
Budget youth regional chairman and telling people shut up and they sit down, man. God to be here, y'all. God to be here, y'all. Who's the you that ever move? Start to really feel like that.
All right, so what you're getting there is a taste, a first-hand look at PPP thugs. PPP thugs. This was expected. We knew that it was coming. Intelligence report stated that they were just being paid a box of cocoa, some fried rice, to do exactly what they did. So this is not surprising at all. They should have been kicked out of the place. We see these dunce thugs. That's what it's about. Dunce thugs being paid not even $25,000 for this, less than that. Dunce thugs. And so the visiting committee, they're all brilliant people who have been in this business for a while. They know who are the paid thugs. They have observed, and that is why they realize that it is what it is. And that's what the PPP likes, to pay these individuals to behave in this manner. So I am not surprised. I know you guys are not surprised at all. It is just what it is. I'm glad that I'm not there to drag some of them, these thugs out. If I were a security officer, not a security guard at that Roshan Khan security that underpays people and discriminate against people. And they have other security. I'm talking about real security, mind you, right? Those PPP thugs would have been dragged out of there. I know Francine would have assisted. All of you would have assisted. The paid thugs would have been out of there. They get people pomposetting, as they say in Guyana, as tongue. Look, PPP thugs sitting on the desk. That's what politics has turned to now in Linden. Look at those thugs. Who would sit on a desk like that? What's happening? What is really happening? And I'm glad that this lady, Dee, is there to stand up for what is right. She look at these dunce thugs. The tongue clerk or tongue clung or whatever he calls these people. These visiting team should have been treated better. But Jack Dave and them paid those dunce thugs, those dunce PPP thugs, with no form of experience, no qualifications, nothing. That's just what they are, dunce thugs. And they're going to pick up the phone and call, yeah, we broke up meeting and we did. They behave like thugs for all of you guys to see. If you guys think that these guys alone, these guys, take a look at the dunce thugs them. Take a look at the thugs, the dunce PPP thugs, tongue clung, and all these things. No wonder why we, no wonder why we are where we are. Take a look.
Yeah, this is the elite team, the root team.
Stock team, all part of the Dunn stock team. So I'm glad that it happened. You guys see exactly why Guyana is the way it is, why the PPP thugs do what they do, the thugs at Freedom House, the thugs at Office of the President. Just thugs upon thugs and thugs and thugs. PPP thugs. That's what it's about. They're not about anything proper for Linden. And if you look at the so-called representatives PPP got for Linden, just take a look at them. Unqualified, inexperienced, you name them, all of them, every single one of them. They're gonna go now. They're probably going to head over by either by Shanghai or Kashif or one of them, and they go collect their little box of cook-up, their little half pound of black pudding, and they're okay. They're okay. That's what it is. But I'm glad that the team was able to be there. They listened to genuine people, genuine concerns, and so forth. Genuine people, genuine concerns, and they did what they had to do. And it's worse, Arlene, it's worse than a rum shop setting, because that's what the PVP is accustomed to, worse than a rum shop settings. But the visiting team, they're not surprised by these things. I don't know why the camera person still has the camera on these dunce dogs. Look. I don't know why it's important to for the camera person to have those dunce dogs still there. But at least for the most part, the visiting team heard from the people. They heard genuine, not dunce dogs mental, genuine situation they heard. All right, so we'll be on later on this evening at 8 o'clock right here on 107.1 FM. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in. You get firsthand to watch and hear the dunce dogs in Linden. God bless. See you all later. Po Guyana, huh?
Yeah, my name is Justin T. Caldata, Francis C. Wicknam, and since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they
Mr. Mark, I believe every word of what Mr. Shu is saying. I am also afraid of what Mr. Shu. Mr. Shu?
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
I've lived in Guyana and I've attended multilateral school. And for my primary days in school to secondary school, I've learned and I've understood that Guyana covers 83 square miles of landmass. I didn't hear that. Square miles, I said that.
Yeah, my name is Justin T. Caldata, Francis C. Wicknam, and since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by 1 vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.